Hey you guys, so today I'm going to show you guys step by step how to change these to a LED conversion. If you guys have a factory ballast that's out, you guys probably already know the dealership don't like to sell the ballast by itself. They sell you the whole headlight assembly. So I'm going to teach you guys step by step today how to convert this over to LED. And I'll put the links below for you guys too. Hey guys, so today we're going to be replacing the factory HIDs on this IS350 with the LED conversion kit. And then we're going to put those on the little parking lights. The reason we're doing this is because one of her factory ballast went out. And on these lights, as you guys know, the ballasts are expensive and the dealership doesn't like to sell them by themselves. They tell you you guys got to buy a full headlight assembly for it. So to take this off, you got to remove the clips from here. On this one, there was only like 6 clips. You guys might have more if you have all of your clips. You'll see all the little clips right there where they should be. And then after that, you take this off. Then once you take this off, you're gonna have a 10 right there. You gotta take off those clips, and that one is like a Phillips screw. So you're gonna have to do that from both sides. Just remove that 110. Don't remove these. I believe that's just to hold the grill together. And you remove the Phillips screw from here and the 10 from there on both sides. And then I'll show you guys what else needs to come off right now to get this bumper off. So you also got a screw right here on both sides. You could use a screwdriver or a 10. And then you also have 2 clips. So there's one clip and the other one's right there. Alright, so for the clips, they're actually just kind of tucked into these fender liners. I'm pretty sure somebody already replaced these because the fender liners just pops out right there and right there. This shouldn't be ripped like this, or ripped right there, missing piece, and this shouldn't be ripped like that. It's like that on both sides. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be a little push clip like the Scions have on them. There you guys, and then you're gonna have a couple of clips or screws down here. I don't know exactly how many because this one seems to be missing almost all of them, but they should look just like that, which you could use a 10 or a Phillips screwdriver to take off. You got these little clips, so you kind of just wiggle the bumper out and it'll pop out from there. Do the same thing on both sides, and this thing should just slide forward part of the headlight. So same thing, just wiggle those around and it will pop off. And then after that, if you have somebody to help you take it off and not grab it from the middle to take it off, it's always a good idea to lay something down on the floor. Especially if you guys are working in your yard or something on top of gravel or dirt or rocks or something like that. You guys have fog lights like this one does. This one has a zip tie for some reason. Most likely something was probably loose. They got a bunch of zip ties on it. You could pop this. You just push this lever down and pull the bulb out. Sometimes it's going to be stuck because it's been plugged in for years and nobody's ever changed it. If that's the case, usually you could just twist the bulb out counterclockwise and then just take the whole thing out. If the clip's stuck, might as well just do that. You also have this sensor on hers. Is just sitting here, but I believe it's supposed to have like a little latch. Most of your guys is probably gonna have like a little metal latch on here. I'm pretty sure that's usually latched onto something, right? I think it's latched onto here from what I remember on most of the ones that we do for this vehicle. Alright, so as you can see, now the bumper's off. So next step, we're going to take off these headlights. It's always a good idea to tape around here. Not necessarily that you're going to scratch them, but just in case when you're putting the headlight back on. Some headlights have a little bolt or something back here, or a little piece of metal tab. So when you push it back, you don't want to push it and end up scratching up your paint. To take these headlights off, from what I remember, it's a couple of 10s. So we got a 10 right there. And a 10 right here, and a 10 right here. I'll let you guys know if this other one or not has to come off, or which ones have to come off. So once those 3 screws come off, you just come lift this up. Well, and this one is actually broken too. But you're supposed to have a little tab right here. So you pull the headlights forward and it doesn't come. It's supposed to be because there's a little tab in there. So this one does have it. You see that plastic tab? This one's already cracked, but it's supposed to just lift up and then you start pulling out the headlight. So you just slide out that headlight, the full headlight comes out, you guys could disconnect. They got a bunch of zip ties right here too, so somebody's probably taken this off before, most likely. So the easiest way is to leave everything connected. Actually, just make sure you don't have the power on, because you will most likely zap yourself. Alright, so just put this on a chair. Don't put it on something metal that's going to scratch up the lens or whatever. So the next step you guys are going to be doing to remove this factory ballast to get to the inside is going to be, remember there's a couple of screws for this metal bracket. I believe there's like 4 screws like this that have to come off, and I think this plastic clip has to come off too, from what I remember. So this should be 1, 2, 3 screws, maybe 4. I'll let you guys know if there's another one right now once I start taking it. So those just 3 screws that come off for that. Then you just slide this forward and this thing pops off. And then next we got like a metal bracket that holds this ballast in. While I'm at it, it looks like this is for the high beam. Somebody didn't put this cap back on right either. Those tabs are actually supposed to slide in place first. Then once you slide those tabs in, then this is supposed to push all the way down, and this lever is supposed to pop in and latch in right there. So we'll be fixing that right now too once we put the little parking light bulbs in there. And then for the low beam, you shouldn't have this connected, or at least not have power to it when you're doing it. So the way this part comes off, you twist that counterclockwise, pull it away, well, towards you, away from the headlight. And then these 2 tabs push in towards each other. So there's one, there's another. And you take that out, and there's a bulb. So now let me tell you guys how to take off this ballast. Alright you guys, so to take off this metal bracket, you have 1 screw right here, a Phillips screw. You have a T30 right here that's going to be connected to this ground cable. This is the only one I've ever done that I've seen this add-on, or it might be factory, that I've ever seen this ground cable on. So yours might not have that. If you don't, it's probably just going to be a regular Phillips screw. Then you're going to have another one right here that's going to be a Phillips screw. Once this cover plate lifts up, you have 4 screws on the ballast. So you have 1 Phillips screw, another one on that part of the ballast, another one right there, and the 4th one is right there. Once I take all 4 of these off, this ballast will lift up. If you can't lift it up, just get like a flat screwdriver to kind of pry it up. So once all 4 screws are out, you can lift it up like that. Sometimes these things are stuck, so you could get like a flat screwdriver and just kind of pry up on it. You do have a gasket on this factory ballast, so don't lose it, because you don't want to get moisture inside. So as you can see, that's a little factory ring or O-ring or whatever for the ballast to keep the condensation and moisture out of the headlight. So make sure you reuse this when you put the ballast back on. So now you have 12 volts basically is running in from the factory wiring into this original ballast. Then you have this cable that runs from the original ballast over here to the OEM socket for the OEM bulb. We're gonna do an LED conversion, so basically you could feed this through to the bottom until you pull it out, or you could cut this cable if you're not gonna reuse it. Always make sure, like I said, your power's off. If you guys feel unsafe doing this, you could always disconnect your battery if that makes you feel better. But yeah, make sure you don't have your power on for sure, or the headlight power on, because you don't want to zap yourself. They even put like a little warning label on this cap for factory HIDs about caution, high voltage or whatever. So you will zap yourself, it will hurt. I've never done it personally, but I've had customers that have done it to themselves. You have a little tab right there, same thing, push this tab down and just wiggle it out and it will come out. Like I said, one's gonna be power, one's gonna be ground. So you could always test it with a voltage meter. Alright, so this wire, I just cut it for this since we're not reusing this anymore. It's a lot easier to pull this out through here than to feed it through to the inside. Sometimes it gets stuck. This rubber does go a specific way, so when you put this back on, make sure you put it the right way. I'll show you guys how to test these right now, and then how to connect the LED conversion kit and plug that all in. Alright, so this is the LED conversion kit that we're putting in. That little square does matter where it's faced. You just twist this and slide this up. When you put this in place, this piece should be faced outward. Don't face this inward, or you're never going to get that bulb to lock in place. So the little square cutout goes right there where that little notch is. Lock it back in just like you did with your original bulb. You have two little tabs. Lock in right there. Once you get that in place, then this bulb goes back in and you twist it to lock it in place. You have two little tabs like this that are going to twist in. So it's only going to line up one way, if you guys can see that. So you push the bulb in just like I said. And twist it in. You'll hear it when it locks in place. I usually do it with the wire face that way because most of these IS350s, you got the automatic adjusting headlights. So because this is going to move when you turn on the vehicle, I don't want the wire to end up hitting if you lock it in face this way, for example. You're going to end up plugging into the factory harness. I never suggest keeping this one. Always cut this one and put a bigger one, a bigger fitting on there. This one sucks. It always will wiggle itself out, and this car is a pain in the butt to get to that cable. So never keep this plug. Either use this fatter one or add different types of connectors to plug it into here, and then you could always electrical tape these off. Not that it should ever touch anything, but just in case, it's always better to be safe than sorry and have that touch something inside and short out or something. When you guys try this won't actually plug into this. It's a little bit fatter. But like I said, don't use these skinny ones. The skinny one on here sucks. I mean, you could technically get a shear cutter, cut this a little bit thinner with a metal shear cutter, and then pop it in place, and that would work. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to tape this off. I'm going to cut this a little bit open with a razor blade just to expose more of the wire, and then I'm just going to tap into both of these with like I believe they're called like T-tap connectors. I'll show them to you guys right now once I do it, so you guys could see exactly which connectors I use or what I recommend for you guys. These type of connectors for this job. Like I said, I was going to strip a little bit of this away just so I could get to this wire. I'll strip both of them. I'm going to cut these off and replace these with the ones that are in the box. For the colors that you use, it always depends on how thick the wire is. I believe the thicker wires, the yellow ones, and then thinner, and then the thinnest wires, usually the red ones. Alright, you guys. So, when you guys strip these, make sure you actually strip them good. Don't cut the wires. I mean, if you do, you could just put a different type of tip that's like a plug like this with a crimp and crimp it on there and plug it in. But the main mistake I always see customers that come in here, they do this themselves. They think that this, because it's called a quick connect, they just put this shit around the wire, close it, put another wire through to plug it in, and they think it's gonna just strip the cable itself, I'm guessing. Because most of the people that come in here that do stuff themselves, that's the main thing, is they didn't actually make a connection right here. So we end up having to charge them for the job just to take everything apart and just fix this. Alright, and then I changed these tips just like I told you guys I was. Another common mistake people do when they crimp these, that little metal piece wants to tend to drop to the top or bottom. Try and straighten it out before you try plugging it into here. Because if it moves to the top or bottom, when you put it, instead of going through the middle and making a connection, it's actually just going to sit right here or sit on top. If it's touching plastic, it's doing you no good. And then you just run the wires through here until you find your way down here. Once you find your way down here, you plug it into there. And then I'm just going to plug the black one to the black one on here. I mean, you could test it with a voltage meter if you want, but I've done these a couple of times. I mean, and just test your work before you put your headlight on, just in case you plugged it backwards. Just flip these two cables. With LEDs, if you plug it in reverse, it just won't turn on. Test out the headlight first before I put it back. So you guys can see that the other side's out also. So this one right now I have the flash on, so you probably can't see too good. There you go. You can see that the light's on. So that now that you know that it's plugged in correctly, wiggle this around. Some of you guys I've seen plug these things in loose or not correctly, and the light will switch on and off. I've seen it done on strips, LED strips, underglow lights, all that stuff. So now that this is all done, you could even electrical tape this so that you could feel like it's tighter or whatever. Tuck all this back in, put that gasket back on here, put that back on, put the screws and everything just opposite what you did to take it off. I'll go back over it with you guys. That other cap I was telling you guys slide this in first. Put that cap on, and then this little latch is going to latch on top right here so that it could lock it in place. The ballast is in, the square goes one way, so make sure you do put it back face correctly. I put the gasket first and the ballast, and we're going to put those 4 screws right now to put that ballast on. Screws for the ballast, you got 2 little screws holding this metal bracket, and then that T30 right here holding that ground. If you guys have that ground, it might just be a regular screw on your guys'. So I'm just going to change that little bulb right here, however somebody put this cap back on. The headlights don't have to come off to change these, but the customer wanted to upgrade these, so might as well, since the headlight's already off, just do it right now. Get back on also with the 3 screws, so you got 1, 2, 3 screws. Then you put the headlight in and put 3 more screws on the headlight. Put the 3 screws back in. I suggest hand tightening in the first few turns first, then tighten them up. I see too many people that use power tools and they don't start them off by hand, and they end up stripping all the bolts or whatever, and then it's a pain in the butt to take them off later. Alright you guys, so now it's LED on both sides. We did the LED conversion for the low beam since those were out, and the customer also upgraded that little parking light bulb to LED so it could be a lot nicer color, so it will match. So as you guys can see, they're installed now and they're bright. I'll put the link for the same exact items that I used on this install on the bottom of the page. If you guys have any questions, just comment or whatever. Hit us up on Instagram. It's SoCal_accessories. I'll try and message you guys back. Hope this video helps a lot of you guys. To put the bumper back on, exact same thing. I always suggest a little box if you want to separate the screws and stuff and clips and everything you guys took off from the bottom. I had all the headlight screws in this tape roll, and then you guys could put like the clips or whatever from the top. Separate it however you guys will remember to put it all back together correctly. Because for example, you guys have screws that have different types of threads. Like these are for the bottom. And you guys have some that have a finer thread that you use on the headlight screw that are like this type of thread. So just don't mix them up. You guys don't want to fuck up your threads on them. So I hope this video helps you guys out, man.